One of the big names on the transfer portal list is now off of the board as Ohio State guard Cotie McMahon has made the decision to transfer to Ole Miss. She is going into the SEC. This is obviously a big move for Ole Miss and adding McMahon, who was an all-conference player in the Big Ten this past season. It's obviously going to be a big move in the conference in terms of added talent to the conference, competition within the conference. McMahon spent her first 3 seasons at Ohio State, the Ohio State. She led the Buckeyes with 16.5 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 44% shooting from the field. The 6 foot junior guard is going to be an impact player in the SEC. She brings a physicality that exists in the SEC. So she fits the billing for the type of players that are in the SEC, which is obviously a big, big thing for Ole Miss. But let's talk about this because this is just one of a number of moves that Ole Miss has made to bring in some new talent. A team that lost to UCLA in the second round by 14 of the tournament. I just saw my son in the back corner. So this is going to be a Ole Miss team that's almost completely revamped. I mean, they were 22-11 last season, or this past season. Like I said, they lost in the second round to UCLA by 14. But let's talk about this. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way, Women's Basketball. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, and leave a comment. We're trying to bring up all the up-to-the-minute information on the transfer portal in women's basketball, as this will continue to go on until the end of April. We'll also be hitting a number of other women's basketball topics. But this Ole Miss deal is pretty big because this is a team this past year that never got blown out, and they played everybody. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, this was a team that while they went 22-11, were 10-6 in the SEC. This is a team that lost to USC by 2 in the season opener. They have losses to UConn by 13, not a blowout. They lost to NC State by 7. They lost to Texas A&M by 2. They lost to Alabama by 6. They lost to Texas by 3. They lost to Oklahoma by 10. Tennessee by 9. The only game that was kind of a blowout was South Carolina by 16. They did beat LSU in LSU, no less. And then they lost to Texas by 7 before losing to actually they lost in the Sweet 16 to UCLA, not in the they lost to UCLA in the Sweet 16, not in the second round. They got a win over Baylor. And then they lost UCLA 76-62 in a competitive game. You know, you got to look at it from a perspective of this is a team that was in everything. They were in every game, but what were they missing? Maybe it was they were missing a closer. Now, they did lose their 3 top scorers off of this past year's team, but they do bring back a 10-point scorer in I was just looking at in Sarah Fino. She averaged about 10 points per game. She's a 6'1" sophomore. They've added Cotie McMahon, who averaged almost 17 a game. They also added out of Virginia, Latasha Lattimore. Latasha Lattimore, she averaged 14.3 points per game and 8.2 rebounds on 49.3% shooting. Lattimore will be going into her 5th season. She spent a year at Texas, then went to Miami for a couple of years, and then was at UVA this past year. Now she's making her move to Ole Miss. I got to say, the 4 schools in 5 years thing, I am not a fan of. But if they're allowing it, then so freaking be it. You know, it is what it is. You know, they're also adding Tiana Thompson out of Georgia Tech, who averaged 4 points on 53% shooting last year. She was a freshman at Georgia Tech, and she was more of a spot play type of player. But you know, she's going into her sophomore year, so maybe she'll get some more burn going on this year. And they also added Jalen Murray, who was a 6'1" forward, transfer out of Wichita State. She spent 2 seasons at Florida Southwestern State, spent 2 seasons at Wichita State, and now is coming as a grad transfer. She averaged 12.4 points and 5.3 rebounds per game at Wichita State this past year. She was the leading scorer and rebounder for Wichita State. So they're adding points to this roster, people that can put the ball in the basket. And I think the big one that you don't even realize, that you don't even know about, is, and it's not been talked about a whole lot, is the transferring of KAITLIN Peterson, who was at the University of South Florida. I'm not Central Florida. University of Central Florida guard. She averaged 21 points per game this past season at Central Florida. She is also going into her grad transfer season. She is fifth in program history at UCF in scoring. She previously went to Indiana for her freshman and sophomore years. She's out of Alabama. She went to Eufaula High School, 4-time Alabama Sports Writers Association All-State selection, scored almost 3,000 points, 25 points as a senior. She's a scoring guard. So you got to look at this and see that you have some scorers coming to Ole Miss. She played 26 games this past season at Central Florida. I keep saying South Florida. I don't know why. I apologize for that. Career high, 39 points in a game. She averaged, let's see, what else? She averaged 21.4 as a senior and 20.7 as a junior. She shot, she is a bit of a volume player, shooting just under 40%. That needs to be better. And between 30 and 33% from three. Definitely improvements from when she was at Indiana. But this is someone that puts the ball in the basket. So you're talking about 21, 17. You're talking about they just added about 50 to 60 points onto this team. It should be a good squad. And Ole Miss is making moves. They really are. They've brought in, let me see who they are, losing some other players that really didn't have much of an impact this past season. But this transfer of KAITLIN Peterson and Cotie McMahon at guard is going to be a serious tandem for this crew. Looking forward to seeing what they got when they start playing competition again next season in SEC play. But for a team that didn't have gunners like this, it's going to be interesting to say the least, because those 3-point losses, those 5-point losses, those 7-point losses, when you have people that can put the ball in a hole, those could end up being wins and can make a 22-11 team a 28-5 team. Big difference. So that's going on. That's where Cotie McMahon is going. She's going to Ole Miss. Big move, big move. Another one off the board. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you being here. This is Rudy's Rant, her game, her way, women's basketball. Come on now.